In today's podcast with special guest Patrick Red, we talk about our insane hedonistic lifestyle, breakup, our raw emotions, what got you there, and cheating and much more. So this is a big one. Thanks, Patrick, for coming on, and enjoy the podcast. Escaping the Matrix has been the buzzword of 2022, and I wanted to discuss this with special guest Patrick Red, second time on the channel. This time in real. I'm very happy.
Yeah, this is in real life. This is not fake. This is actual real life.
It feels unreal though, because it's very strange that I'm in Turkey and you're the South America guy,
Yeah.
and me and my business partner have just been talking about starting a project in Central America, South America, and you just show up.
Yeah, I just was on the itinerary to go to Turkey. Just happened to be here at the same time. Coincidence, serendipity, whatever you want to call it.
Manifestation. We manifested a South America expert into our monk mode villa in Turkey. Amazing.
And I'm trying not to distract them.
He did a horrible job at not distracting us today, but we had a great day. We walked up the hill, we had a good lunch. Now we're filming this podcast. We did a workout.
Yep. Very busy day.
Actually, yes. So I'm proud. Back to the escaping the Matrix. I would say we both escaped the Matrix on some level, because it is a very vague term. And whenever I watch those YouTubers, I like Andrew Tate. He says funny stuff. But clearly all the YouTubers are on the escape the Matrix by buying my $47 course and that will solve all your problems kind of vibe. And I'm like, what does that even mean? What does escaping the Matrix mean? And I think we can both share a little bit of our origin story that got us from the rural areas of, in my case, Austria, in your case, USA, right, into living quite a fun, exotic, exciting lifestyle. So where did it all start for you? Because all I know about you now from the outside is you're this crazy guy living in South America, creating these insane events,
Yeah.
teaching other people how to do it, constantly around hot girls, constantly bottles, luxury, mansions. Where did it start? And correct me if I'm wrong, if that's the outside image that you're trying to present. But yeah, where did it all start?
No, I mean, I think it's really important that, the conversation that we have is candid. And, if you're watching this right now and, maybe you don't have a lot of these same experiences as maybe what we're talking about, just sit there, take notes, listen to the stuff that we want. It's not important that what either of us are saying is like the correct answer or, the right way to escape the matrix, so to speak. But what I really hope just from this conversation is that we can just show our perspectives and hopefully influence a couple people to think differently, kind of challenge what the status quo is. So I grew up out of a little cornfield right outside Washington, D.C. in Maryland, and it was literally an excuse to get caught behind a tractor on the way to school and cows all around me and farms all around me on all sides. And as I was growing up, went through the 2008 housing crisis where my parents almost lost their house. And I was always a guy that was really obsessed with money, right? Because I saw the impact that going through that when I was younger had of the 2008 housing crisis where, my family almost lost their house. And for some reason, I took that pressure and I wanted to do something with that. So I really wanted to become a mechanical engineer because I always heard, okay, if you become a mechanical engineer, you'll be set up, you'll make a lot of money, etc. So I worked my ass off through high school, college, and I got my internship, and I was like talking to the guys that were around me, and none of them really had like a cool life. They like all made the amount of money that I wanted, but then I realized at that moment, I was like, oh shit, I messed up. There's something that was wrong about my guiding light of just wanting to make money. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to tell somebody that making money isn't everything, but you're a guy who probably has a way cooler life than other guys that make more money than you in terms of being able to travel, the lifestyle, the experiences, the girls, right? And so there had to be some better North Star, like some better point, some better, I guess, objective, rather than just trying to optimize your life for money. And I think the pathway that both of us took was, how do we just have the coolest experiences? How do we do all the heathenistic things that maybe other people would judge us for, but do that in a way that is actually fulfilling to us. Other people might say like, oh, that's superficial, or hey, don't you want something that's more meaningful? But I think that I don't know if I speak for you, but for me, going on these mansions, having these, 40, 50 girls at a dinner, being able to bring my clients on those things and bring them to mansions, yachts, I'll be able to travel, even be able to come here to Turkey, like those are things that I think that when people first start out on their pathway, doesn't even seem possible. And I doubt that when you first started, I mean, what did you think your life was going to look like when you were first?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, it was basically I grew up in Austria, also literally around cows, right?
Yeah.
Tractors driving past my house, I guess, every hour.
We were
because
probably neighbors.
yeah,
Essentially.
like literally, just like every third vehicle would be a tractor.
Yeah.
Because it's farmland.
Yeah,
Like
of
they
course.
go to work.
Yep.
They go to the
Smells
field.
like shit in the
Yeah,
springtime
I love
in
it.
the fall.
I miss it, kind of. Grew up there, and I don't know. It's a weird feeling. I never felt like the crisis. Like it wasn't like 2008. Everything went down for us. I didn't feel that. I just always felt like, oh my God, we just have to save constantly, right? Like I had it good. My parents gave me everything, no complaints, but it was just like we would never go for dinner. It was always very basic. We would never like splurge on anything. We wouldn't order really drinks, even when we go to the cinema. We'd like hide our own shit, bring it in, right? Because you don't fucking pay €6 for a soda. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can buy it for 50 cents in the
Of
store.
course.
We would like always like hoard coupons because you get 20% off here if you buy this there and da da da. So it taught me incredibly important lessons because even if you make a lot of money, you still wanna, first of all, not splash because it can be gone really quickly. Secondly, if you're a business guy, you have to have a budget, right? Like business literally means have more income than expenses, and it's very easy to explode expenses. So I just always had that feeling in the back of my mind of this cannot be it. I want to make more money. And I guess similar to you, I tried to be a good student. I wasn't always, but I did programming in high school. I did electronical engineering. So I was definitely following the path of, okay, I get a decent job to make decent money to make it out. So we're very similar in that sense. It kind of changed for me when I realized that never ends. Like, I kind of looked at, I don't know, did I look up like how much engineers make 10 years into the job or something like that? And I realized it's not that much. It's just like every year, like 5% more. And then inflation is like 3%. And then it's like, so I must have realized on the one hand, that is a bit of a scam anyway. And secondly, I spent a whole year in Nicaragua when I was 19 years old. So from the age of 19 to 21, I spent a year in Nicaragua, which showed me like this whole different world of suddenly like, I was like in hostels with hippies. I was like meeting some tourists. I'm meeting some people who spent like 1 month there or wanted to spend 1 month there and ended up spending the whole year there. And I was like, oh, like these are people who they just travel, they just chill. And that was kind of the time when blogging was a thing, right? Like you had your own blog, like kind of before YouTube took off. And people made some money with that. And I was like, wow, there's some people out there who make money online, live in a country where it's way cheaper, but get a Western wage. Obviously, remote work wasn't a thing at all. But it kind of clicked in me of like, there is more to life and you can have it all. Like you don't have to choose, I'll be an engineer and then only do this, or I will be a hippie and it's the only way to travel. I think you can do both. I don't know how yet, but I will figure it out. And it led me to wanting to work for people who already figured it out, which in this case was James, because he was traveling the world. He was meeting girls everywhere. He was seducing them. And he was running an online business successfully, getting people on workshops, making good money. So I was like, that's sick. He makes money and does traveling. I want that too. So I decided to be his student, so to say, in the way of providing my time, my skills with photography, web design, and I just went all in. I basically quit my university, like computer science. I tried to film as much for him as possible. I worked for free.
I can't imagine you being a computer scientist now.
Yeah, right?
Like, I don't know if I could imagine that.
I look like a fucking hipster now.
Yeah.
All these tattoos. Can you
Yeah.
imagine me just typing? Yeah. So I went all in on that. And along the way, you learn and you meet other people who figured it out better than you. And I guess with the right combination of humility and insanely hard work, you can get somewhere. And obviously, I'm not there yet. Like, I'm still figuring out so much. But yeah, that's a little bit my backstory of how I ended up not as a software engineer. Not to hate on software engineers, they're incredibly important people. Thanks for making all this stuff.
Yeah, I was just reveling at how amazing this mic is.
Yes, it's fucking, I love it. So, and I have, like, I'm in awe with engineering in general. I was just never that good at it. And I want to inspire people out there. You can be an engineer. That's kind of my point. You can do what you want to make money, and you can live a cool lifestyle. That's an important distinction. I think people separate too easily. They're like, this is just a fuck boy, right? Or he's a nerd. But like, I think you can be a nerd fuck boy.
Yeah, that's true. I think to kind of base off of that, right? I initially had that misconception that you just talked about of like you have to be business focused, and because of kind of my upbringing, and maybe you relate to this, I was always afraid to take time away from working, right? So I ended up dropping out of college, started my own company, and during the next 2.5 years, I would just sit there and I would work like 12 hours a day, and I was so afraid of like not being successful that everything was going to mess up, and I didn't want to go out and go do anything else because I was like, okay, like I need to earn XYZ amount of money and then I can do it. And then I'd hit that amount of money and then I wouldn't go do anything with the money, right? So I ended up being around 19 years old. I was making $40,000-$60,000 a month.
That's crazy.
And, you know, a lot of people don't relate to that, and you don't really have anybody to like give you advice on how to build your lifestyle now, right? It's like, okay, there's plenty of people telling you, okay, here's how you make money, here's how you get a job, but how do you use that to make your life better, right? How do you avoid the pathway of the old rich guy who never did anything with his money, who dates the first girl that he ever got in a relationship with in high school, and avoid all of that pain of then her cheating on him or breaking up with him and divorcing him and taking all of his stuff? Because I've also seen that as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, now that I have a new conundrum and I have no idea how to solve it. And so I had this client come invite me out to this bottle service table in D.C. at this club called Decades. And I was like, no, man, you know, I really don't want to do this. You know, I'm going to work. It was like a Friday night or something like that. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're 19 years old. Like, I just invited you to the coolest thing ever. Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. He came to my house, knocked on my door.
What was his incentive to like drag you out of the house?
No, he just wanted to show me a good time. Like, imagine like when you were a host for somebody, you want to make sure everybody else is having a good time. Like, there's some amount of enjoyment that you get out of bringing your clients to an experience and making sure they have a good time.
You were a client of him.
Well, he was my client, so I was. He wanted to show me a good time for doing good work for him.
Right.
And in the business world, it's very common. Like, go play golf with people that you do business with. It's like, but for me, I was 19. I'd never come from that type of world. And he literally drove to my house and knocked on my door, and I opened it up, and it was like, no, I'm not going in. I appreciate you coming here. I'm going back inside. I closed my door. And he's like, knocks on the door again. He's like, no, you have to come. I'm like, oh, this is going to be horrible. So I get dressed, shitty clothes.
Because sorry to interrupt, at this point, how was your experience with girls in general, your dating life, and your social life, like going out and stuff?
I had dated one girl that I met in high school. I really didn't talk to anybody for 2.5 years because in the U.S., everybody between the ages of 17 and a half to 22 are in college. Wow. So like if you're not in that group in the U.S., you're kind of an outsider. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I felt like I really didn't relate to anybody that was my age.
I can understand. I was in a all-boys boarding school from 15 to 19, so in the same.
So when you get to college, it's like, you know, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit different for me, but yeah, basically from Monday to Friday, I was around boys,
Mm-hmm.
playing soccer and, I don't know, computer games. And on the weekend, I was already too excluded from my old social circle,
Mm-hmm.
like at home, to go out. So I was, again, just programming and playing online poker at home. That for 5
Sounds
years.
pretty good.
That's so bad. Yeah.
So,
So I can
hey,
relate. Yeah, okay.
yeah. So anyway, so he just wanted to show me a good time, right? Because I'd done good work for him, his company, right? And so I remember sitting in his passenger seat, like with not very nice clothes, same high school clothes, um, in his nice Escalade, and we're like riding down to DC, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat. I'm like, this is gonna be the worst night of my whole life, right? But it was
Because you were
completely
obviously
different.
afraid in some sense. Like
Yeah, I
you
was
were,
afraid. I was like, this is
you
going to
didn't
be
want to embarrass
horrible.
yourself. You didn't,
Everyone's going to judge me.
yeah.
You know, I figured out how to fit in the business world, but I didn't figure out how to fit in these social environments. And I was like, this is just a waste of time. This is time that I could spend making money, take care of my mom, take care of my dad. Because my goal at that time was to retire my dad. So I felt like any time that I spent doing something for myself was taking away from that. Um, and so, anyways, when I got there, it was completely different than what I thought. He brought me this bottle service table. It had all these sorority girls from Georgetown University and all these guys in business suits. And they actually wanted to meet me because they were like, who's this guy walking in with Renato? And it was completely different than what I thought because all these guys were successful in business. These guys were way older than me. These guys were dressed really nicely. And then also super hot girls that were
Right.
my ideal type. And I got introductions to, I don't know, 20, 30 people in one night.
Wow. So you went at the age of 19.
And then you're not even allowed in the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That aside, you went straight from basically
Well, I could
never
walk into
going
the club
out
because the guy who came to the club and brought me to the
straight
club.
to the top.
Yeah, we went to
In
to
that-
the top
in
floor.
that
We went to the bottle
pyramid.
service table, and that was it.
That's amazing. That's a crazy hack because I had to go through years of like going to Austrian pubs, getting rejected, then in different cities, going out alone, approaching girls, which I don't regret at all. Like it fucking built my character to, it's almost like you're a soldier and you meditate in a club. But to be honest, I'm currently checking out which Eastern European city I'm going to move to next. I was in Bulgaria 2 weeks ago. I was in Sofia, and I was like, okay, I should go to at least a club once, right? And I didn't book a table. It was just me and my real estate agent. So it wasn't really, I don't know, it didn't make sense. And I went to the club, and I was there for like 25 minutes, and I was like, this is horrible. Without a table, without status, without girls around.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And that's even at the point that you're at right now of having all these crazy reference experiences. And
Yeah, it's just
you know,
like,
most guys, they go out, have no chance of meeting any type of women that they want to meet and no types of guys that they want to meet. And it doesn't matter how cool you are. It also matters about what environment you're in. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel in that moment? How does the environment make you feel?
yeah. And it's just like, if you don't have that context or you don't know what you're working for, it's, yeah, insane how strong the meme of a club still is. It's kind of like, why do people go to the club if they don't have all this positive stuff on the end? They're just there, standing there, getting rejected, getting drunk, spending money. And then they're like, big night, last night, amazing. Wow, we got so drunk. Crazy for you that you went straight to that at 19.
Oh, I got plenty of the rejection types of stories after that, but that was just.
Okay.
I think the most important thing about that was that I didn't believe that that's what was good. I thought that was bad.
Yeah.
Right? I thought it was bad to go do that. And then when I actually experienced it, all those misconceptions, because I was open-minded enough to at least try it out, then I kind of got this new perspective on what life could look like, right? This ability to think differently, this ability to challenge the status quo. Because the status quo would be go to college, go get a job, go work really hard, and that's fine for most people, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just like how do you create the lifestyle that you want at the end of all the work that you put in?
Yeah, because the reality is you will never make enough to afford that lifestyle, because you will always be perfectly in balance to make a little enough to get by and not complain, but you will never exponentially increase your income in a way, like with a job, that you just like go in a club, boom, rent a villa, fuck it, let's book a flight. Hey girl, come. I booked us something nice. Like, it would just never happen. So you're just trapped in that sense.
Yeah, and I have some friends that are doctors too, and they like did their residency, and now they're making, 400, 800K. Some of them, they only get a couple weeks off, so it's like they have all the money to do it, but like, oh, I can only go to this villa like this week, this
Right.
specific week or whatever.
And probably the week when everybody else is off, and then
Yeah, of course.
five
So I
times
guess
the price.
what were some of the biggest problems you had with, what were some of the biggest, I guess, hurdles that you had to overcome, that maybe it was like a breakup, a girl cheating on you, or any advice that you have for kind of going through those obstacles? Because that can kind of be the reason, I guess, what really extinguishes the fire in most of these guys.
Luckily, it wasn't breakup, it wasn't crazy rejection. It was internal for me. So there was not an external event in that sense. I just realized I'm just so shy. Like, I just basically was at a level, I don't know if you would call it like social anxiety, but I was just not comfortable in my own skin, especially when there was a girl in the room that was attractive. And that really bothered me, like growing up. And I could kind of avoid it through being in a, high school full of boys. And the girls who were there were kind of like boyish as well because they were like studying electrical engineering, not like fashion design. So I could ignore that, but it became really obvious when I then was in Nicaragua trying to make female connections, and then back in Vienna. So it was just this internal thing of, what the fuck, Alex? How are you gonna live your life if every time there's a girl you're attracted to, you just stand there like a fucking idiot and you look at her and you hope that through some third party you kind of get introduced, or I don't know, she's at the buffet and then you walk and then maybe she grabs the same like some Hollywood bullshit, right? Like, how are you ever gonna truly get the girl in your life that you desire? Because I was also obviously horny. I wanted to have women in my life. I wanted to be desired. I wanted a hot girlfriend eventually. I wanted to have sex. And it was just like there's this big gap. Like, I want all this stuff, but I'm totally unable to go for it. And I didn't even think about the lifestyle I live now at all. All I wanted was just the ability to walk up to a girl and just not be internally like shaking, which I was at the time. I literally like tried, like even remembering, I was like, like it gets like trauma back in. I was walking in Vienna back then for hours, and I did this audio challenge where all I had to do was super simple. All I had to do is walk up to a stranger and say, "Hey, I love your watch," or "Hey, nice hat," or "Hey, you look great today," and I couldn't do it. It was too hard, and I was like, "This sucks." So that was traumatic in itself. That was before I even had my first girlfriend. And that really pushed me over the edge, I would say, of saying, okay, do I want to keep the path I have, right? Like engineer, make money, career, and then what? Like, okay, even if I get the job, even if I get the great job, even if I make a lot of money, what am I fucking gonna do with it? Like, then I'm still gonna be anxious. The girl is just gonna be hotter. I'm just gonna have more money in the bank, but my internal state will change zero. So I was like, okay, that's not it. I have to learn how to get out of my shell. I can learn this. That was the other thing. I looked to YouTube, and there was guys who, I don't know if it was marketing or not, but now looking back, it's not, because I made the transition, who claimed I'm an introvert and I was bad with girls and now I'm good with girls, which is a cool story, right? Kind of the sales letter of like, I was a real nerd, but then I became a ladies' man, which sometimes sounds a bit salesy, how it's written and stuff. And
Which is also why when people say escape the matrix,
yeah,
it sounds like a horrible trope at this point,
yeah, it's
because
just overdone.
you kind of know what they're gonna say, and they
Yeah.
don't really say anything below the surface of the sales letter.
Yeah, they're just running the zeitgeist of what currently sells and gets clicks, which, people make money. So, but I believed in it, and I was like, I can change this. It's not because women always say like, oh, he's got it or he doesn't have it, you know, like either a guy has it or he doesn't, and I go for the ones who do, right? Or he just doesn't have it. And I didn't want to believe in that, because that would, if I would have believed in that, it would have meant I just don't have it forever, for life, and I'm just done. I'm just born like this, and I didn't want to accept that. So that what got me so hard into cold approach and overcoming these fears, and just being like training myself that when there's a hot girl, I just walk up and say the first thing that comes to mind, even if it's gibberish, even if it's just hi, even if it's something stupid. I would just put my balls out there and just say, hello, you're beautiful. Hello, you're beautiful. Hi, how was your day? Hey, I like you. Hey, cool jacket. And just do that over and over again until that voice in my head that just says, you're not good enough, you're not handsome enough, you're not tall enough, you don't have it, until this voice just gets beaten down every time I would do it. And I became really good at it. That's the thing. Like, I proved to myself I can do this, and I can attract girls, and I am worthy, right? And did it happen in a week? Absolutely not. It took me a bunch of years. But that really inspired me. And then you're kind of there and you're like, okay, what else can I do? You know, you're aware of like, well, there's also like, there's cute girls on the streets, but there's some girls, they don't take the bus, you know? They take the Uber to the club, and then they take the Uber home from the club. Or they go to the model agency, or they get flown to a different country. They're not even in Budapest anymore.
Yeah.
They already have a model contract in Paris. What about these girls? How can I get these girls? And that's when I started not just, I don't know, I guess like C2C, or like like approaching one-on-one on the street, but think, how
Yeah.
can I build a whole lifestyle around this that brings those women into my life?
I think what you said was so powerful, especially because it's kind of a analogy for life. It's like I want the woman, but I have a lot of fear that comes up on how to get the woman, and then you went through that kind of journey to learn those skills, and obviously it wasn't easy, and also you learned from your mentor at that time too, right?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. And then once you got that, you're like, oh, I'm not sure I've arrived still.
Yeah.
I think that's a great analogy for life. And when you set a goal, it's like, okay, you set a goal because you have some type of pain. You want to overcome that pain. You get a mentor. You get to that level that you want. But then when you arrive, it's like, oh, well, there's still more that I can do. And there's always more that you can do.
And the interesting part is like, you know, bam, 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 fast forward now a couple of years, I find myself on a yacht in the Maldives with 20 beautiful girls. And it always kind of comes back to the internal thing. Like, the reason I'm so addicted, and I think this is a big misconception of what people see out there when they see kind of my overlays or even your footage, right? Because people judge us often as superficial, uh, lost, you know, not in touch with God or whatever you want to call it.
Man, I'm in touch with God. Look, I got an angel right here that protects me.
Wow, yes.
Yeah.
Just vain, don't understand what real love means, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
or
right?
that women are using us.
Oh yeah, right.
that women
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
using
yeah.
us,
Only
they
gold
only like
diggers
us for
around
our money.
us.
Yeah.
They just like us for all our money.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll never know if they don't like us for our money.
Yes.
Because we'll never be poor. Oh.
So that's often, I see it in comments, right? I get
Heathenistic.
it. It's like that's just the guy in the bedroom who his ego is so challenged by this stuff. He needs to defend himself. Okay, I get it. But what I want to tell those people, everyone out there, the ones judging and the ones don't, is even when you're in that situation, it comes back to some internal conflict, some internal question of like, am I worthy of this now, right? Like now I'm on the yacht with the 20 girls. And then again, the imposter that back then on the street came into my mind of like, am I good enough to talk to that girl at the bus stop? Now I'm like, am I good enough to be on a yacht with 20 girls? And it's just this crazy internal transformation, progress, this internal journey that excites me. So that's what I want to clarify. It's not, for me, I want to hear your version as well, because maybe it's different. For me, it's not, I love luxury lifestyle so much, or I need bottles, or I need to be on the best whatever resort. I don't give a fuck about that. I do love beautiful women, I gotta be honest. It's the internal voice that again gets challenged of like, oh, can I do this? Or,
Yeah. Can you do the next step?
yeah, can I be okay with this? Can I be the fucking boss on the yacht? Can I build
It
this?
probably sounds so unrelatable though for the person listening to this right now, because you
Yeah.
got a Rolex and we're in this crazy mansion over here. So it's probably
Yeah.
really unrelatable for us to talk
Well,
about
you should
how.
overlay where I was 10 years ago. That's the thing. It's just, yeah, like that's the gratification.
But that's what triggers so many people, right? That's what triggers so many people is that, I guess in their mind, it's that how could you possibly value these mansions, these girls, these crazy vacations, and then also be completely comfortable with yourself? Because let's give an example of muscle cars, right?
Yeah.
If you believe that every guy who has a muscle car is an asshole, you're not going to go get a muscle car because that would make you an asshole. So it's like like the people that talk about these things in a negative way, they have some moral objection for why they can't have XYZ result. Oh, I'm not greedy, so therefore I don't think that money is the most important thing. I don't think of women as objects, therefore I don't go and date a bunch of women. I don't think that superficial vacations or mansions are going to make me are for people that are fake happy and have some insecurity about themselves. So therefore, I'm not going to do those things.
I think all models are stupid and just want to take selfies. Therefore,
I'm not going to talk
I'll
to them.
date
Yeah.
a 7
Yeah, exactly.
or
So
worse.
it's like the moral objections to, like, think about who programmed that moral objection in you. Like that's more important, right? It's like when people were telling me, "Oh, hey Patrick, what are you going to do when you drop out of college?" I was like, how are you going to get a job? What are you going to do? When are you going to go back to college? How are you going to get a degree? How are you going to get a job in mechanical engineering? It's like they'd ask me all these questions, and it was like all about these moral, I guess, obligations or objections they had in their mind.
Agents of the Matrix.
And the questions that they're asking, though, determine the quality of the questions that they ask determine the quality of their life.
Yeah.
If they ask instead of, hey, how are you going to get a job? They say, how could you live with yourself if you kept doing a job that you didn't want to create a lifestyle that you don't want, and you continue to do that for the next 20 to 30 years, and then you died?
How did it
That's
make
my
you
question.
How did it make you feel when all these people were kind of, you were trying to like go a different way and they were trying to pull you back? What was your, can you kind of remember of, was it difficult
Oh,
to
it was
tell them?
heartbreaking. I would
Yeah.
sit on my couch. I bought a little IKEA couch for like $1,000. The cheapest IKEA couch there was. Horrible. And I would sit there and I would cry at night. And my parents didn't talk to me for the first 2.5 years I started my business. And whenever I go to Christmas, my family would be like, "Oh, when are you going back to college?"
Oh.
And even last year when I went to, it doesn't bother me anymore. But when I went back last year for Christmas, I got the same question. I'm like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? I'm making more money. I'm having more fun with my life. I'm doing the things that actually make me happy. And you still have the same questions. So I challenge the person watching this. The quality of the questions that you have determine the quality of your life. If you ask questions about, oh, but how can you do this? Or, how do you, I don't know, what's some questions that you get that are like kind of these moral objections? Like,
Well, for me, just like, don't you want to do something serious with your life?
yeah, like, what does
Don't
that
you
even
want to
mean?
meet women who are intelligent, not just stupid women?
What does that even mean?
Yeah. What does it mean?
What
What
does
does
that
intelligence
mean?
even mean?
It's like, what's the quality of the questions? Like, okay, the questions that I want to ask myself is like, okay, what are the things that are important to me? Okay, my mom's health. She had a lot of knee surgeries lately. Retiring my dad. My dad has been working with his hands for, I don't know, 50, 60 years, right? I want to make sure that he can stop doing a hard labor job and working on cars. I want to make sure that my team is taken care of, the people that work for me. I want to make sure that my clients are taken care of. I want to make sure that I can have cool, awesome, new experiences with people that, like, for example, this. It's like I decided that I want to go drive 2.5 hours last night to go to a mansion and record a podcast with you, Like, those are things that you can't do if you don't have some type of challenging fundamentally of the beliefs that you have.
Yeah. And it takes a while to get out of it. And it takes a mentor, I would say. Like, I just remembered, I love what you said about all these people telling you basically come back to college, right? And it's
Including my family, my
and
mom
your
and my
family.
dad, the people that I look to for
I know.
support and guidance.
And
That's hard.
that's kind of to close that loop of the Matrix. For me, this is the Matrix. The Matrix, like, I'm sure, or I'm not sure, I assume there's like shadow societies. Call them Illuminati, call them
No,
Masons, something.
I saw when I came in that you guys had a couple triangles on your whiteboard. So
Yeah, it's just sales stuff.
okay,
Yeah.
Illuminati. There you go.
It's called sales funnel. Look it up.
Okay, cool.
No, I'm sure there's dodgy stuff going on, right? But that doesn't really influence your day-to-day life. What influences your day-to-day life is what does your mom ask you every day, right? How does your dad think you're doing? The two friends you live with, what are they doing every day? Are they waking up at 7, going to the gym, or are they waking up at 10, rolling a joint, going late for work, getting their job, losing their job, fucking never working out, eating shit? That's the real Matrix. So the whole thing of escape the Matrix, sure, work hard, right? But it's really like be around the right people, because that, I think, is the biggest opportunity of the 21st century, is you can now really choose who you want to hang out with and who you want to communicate with. And that takes 2 steps. One, cut out the people you don't want to communicate with, which is incredibly hard, because otherwise they keep pulling you down and you will not change them. It's just like these people are like, when you go back to college, you should do something real, blah, 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 you're vain, or you're stupid, or it won't work, or it's too much risk. You will never be able to change their mind. Never, ever. It just doesn't work. You don't have enough energy inside of you to change their decades of conditioning. That's step one. But the beautiful thing now is with programs like ours, right? You're bringing guys together. I'm bringing guys together in my communities. You can now go out there, use the internet, and find the people who say, that's cool. That sounds great. I want to do that as well. And surround yourself with these people. I mean, that's the beautiful thing here. I mean, Turkey, you visit us, right? Beautiful villa, not that expensive, right? If you like split it in 6.
I think a studio apartment in New York City is probably more
Yeah.
expensive than this.
this
Honestly,
mansion,
yeah.
overlay a drone shot, is cheaper than a 3-bedroom apartment in New York City, 2-bedroom even. Yeah. So, and you're here, and everybody's like sick. I want to work on my online business. I want to live a cooler lifestyle. I want to travel. I want to have more women around my life. I want to have higher quality women around my life. I want to work out more. I want to look good. Like, even the notion of working out. What, you going to the gym? You want to look good? It's like, there's people out there. So that's where I see the flip side of, yes, there's negative people, but we have the opportunity to choose. And it's your responsibility to surround yourself with the people who don't judge you.
There's a lot of pain associated with not changing as well, right? So, like, imagine that the people that you're around currently right now, whether that's your parents, whether that's your friends, whether that's your girlfriends, and imagine that you have the relationship that you have right now with them, and it never changes for the next 20, 30 years, right? One day might be bad, 1 week might be bad, 1 month might be bad, 6 months might be bad, 1 year might be horrible. But imagine that you don't change for the next 20 to 30 years. Every negative argument you have, every problem you have about money, every problem you have about not having the girlfriend that you want, every problem that you have about feeling rejected or feeling that insecurity to be rejected, to find the woman that you want, getting cheated on, your girlfriend breaking up with you, those things will continue to happen for the next 20 to 30 years if you don't do something now. That's a lot of weight.
It is a lot of weight.
I was just in Athens, so it's just like that. The Atlas holding up the whole weight of the world, right? You have a lot of responsibility to make that decision right now. Both of us have made those decisions.
How to start?
Both of us, well, for me personally, I don't think it's like this huge, okay, you've made a decision that's irreversible, right? But like some easy ones is like, here's ways that I would start cutting out negative people, right? If you have a girlfriend, probably you're under, I don't know, if you're under 28 years old, you should probably break up with her. If you've only dated one girl in your life, you should probably break up with your girlfriend.
And to clarify on that, I think you're right. I said that in a video where I said biggest mistakes to make in your 20s, and it's like staying in any form of relationship for longer than 3 years, because you just stop progress, you stop learning. Usually in your 20s, you just don't have enough experience to know if this relationship is even good or not, and you're probably complacent, and it's probably just not at a 10 out of 10. You're lacking experience, and you're wasting your time and potential. You're just lazy, and mostly men are too pussy to break up.
Well, you've probably seen this as well, but I have clients that come to me after they get divorced, after their wife cheats on them and leaves them, and then they come to me and they're like, "Hey, Patrick, how do I get this girl back?" And I'm like, "Well, do you go to the gym? Do you work on yourself? Do you do anything for yourself?" And they're like, "No, because I've been dating for this girl for the last 10 years." And then she cheated on me with like my best friend, or she cheated on me with this other guy. She divorced me. She took my shit, half my shit. And that's a lot to unpack for a guy that hasn't been in the dating market for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of pain. Listen, you can avoid all of that pain if you don't have the dating experience that you want and you're not having a happy relationship. Break up with your girl. It's very easy, in my opinion. Like, it's very clear once you kind of think about that weight, do that. Second thing that I do is I would literally make a list of every person that I talk to on a daily basis. And kind of whenever I talk to somebody, I would make a little note and I would like write down this person, right? And at the end of the week, I would do an audit of what were the conversations that I had with those people. Did I have a good experience with this person? Did I have a bad experience with this person? And start cutting out people that you have bad experiences with, right? How many times do you just go out with 3 of your buddies, go get drunk, go to a bar, and end up going home? And you guys didn't make any more money. You guys didn't do anything for your life. You ended up with a bar tab that you ended up not really wanting to spend that much money on.
Yeah.
Or you paid for bottle service tables and didn't meet any girls and didn't meet any cooler guys.
And are hungover the next day.
Yeah, then you're hungover the next day. And start actively being aware of the people that you're talking to on a week-to-week basis. The third thing that I'd do is I'd start writing a list of all of the negative beliefs that you have about yourself, whether that's those things that pop in your head right when they happen, right? So, for example, with you, it's like when you saw that hot girl, what was the first thing that popped in your head? Like back when
I can't do it. She's too hot, or I will be embarrassed. She will be embarrassing me.
Yeah, you take a little audit. Be like, when I saw a hot girl today, I thought, dang, I would be really embarrassed and she would never want to talk to me. Hot girls, I don't deserve to date hot girls because they like other cooler guys. I don't deserve to make a lot of money because people who make a lot of money are greedy. I can't take care of my parents because they're just way smarter than me.
Yeah, monitoring your excuses, basically.
I think I'm smart, but there's other people making more money than me, right? And now you have a whole list of all these negative beliefs that you have about yourself. And then you go write all the contrast, right? So instead of, what was the one about talking to the girl? It's like,
I'm not good enough for her.
I'm not good enough for her. Now write a phrase that says, I'm good enough to talk to any girl that I want.
And I will show her a good time, or I can... and you can make it minimal. I can say, I can make her smile for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'll blow out your world and blah, blah, blah. But it's just like, I can make her smile.
And the goal with that is just to get an awareness of what are the principles that you have right now in your head and start replacing them, which is all these negative principles is what we're going to deem as the matrix. And changing these principles, even if you're just writing down on a piece of paper and writing the opposite of it, just to be able to give yourself these new possibility to believe these things, is going to be replacing the matrix, right? Overcoming the matrix. And so just go through a whole list. Like, I used to not be able to say, like, hey, any girl would love to talk to me. That used to be something that gave me anxiety to say. I was like, holy crap, that's not true, right? And now I can say it and I like actually believe it, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that you're going to overcome right away. But if you don't, you're going to end up with negative relationships for the next 20, 30 years of your life. You're going to end up with a woman that divorces you and takes half your stuff. You're going to end up with your girlfriend or wife
And the worst,
cheating on you.
she doesn't respect you. And then that's, I think, because he's like, divorces you, takes half your stuff. I think the internal emotion of that is just like wasting your life and never feeling respected. I think that's horrible for a man. That's the deep, emasculating feeling of never being the man in the household. Because I see it around me. I see men in relationships, but the woman is wearing the pants.
Yeah. So, what advice would you have for guys? A little more practical advice, maybe step
Yeah.
by step, in terms of how to break up with their girlfriend.
With breakups, the thing is, you usually feel like you should break up. And you start asking yourself the question, should I break up? Basically. Oh, wait, I'll start again. Often it's the case that guys are like asking themselves the question, should I break up with her? Is this still good? Could I do better? And as soon as this comes in, basically a timer starts ticking. And you basically know it's the beginning of the end. The problem is, most men, as I mentioned, they don't have the balls and they don't live in abundance enough to make that timer, let's say, a month. They make that timer a year, they make that timer 3 years, 10 years, right? And they're like, I think they're scared and they're too much in comfort because, I get it. Like us men, after a breakup, it's lonely. A girl, she can put on a nice dress, she will get approached in a bar, she can go on Tinder, she will have matches. A breakup for a man is very lonely. Sure, there's like the top 2% good looking, they have girls in their DMs. But I understand, man, why they're like clinging on to their girlfriend for so long. So the first step of a breakup is understanding that you have to break up. And that you have to, and it's your duty, and that there will be a life after, and that you have the ability to create abundance after. You can find the next girl. The woman you have now is not the last one you can meet. Yes, you spend a lot of time with her. Yes, she knows your body really well. Yes, maybe the sex is still good even. Yes, she's okay with all your quirkiness. But there's thousands of girls out there.
Billions.
Yeah, but I was like tens
I want
of
to give.
thousands.
I want to give a more
Yeah.
big idea of the abundance. There's literally billions of women.
Billions of women out there, and out of those billions, hundreds of thousands who would also really like you and would also really love to fuck you and suck your dick and think you're cute and funny and even like that weird thing about you. So that is kind of step one, because it's the mental thing of overcoming this insane scarcity mindset of she's the only one. And if I lose her, I'm done. I will never kiss a girl again. I'm a piece of shit. So I might as well just like power through with that one, the one I have. Cool. That is important to understand and internalize and just fucking do it eventually. It is your job as a man to break up. Women usually don't break up. They will just create drama to basically push you in a corner that the last chance you have is breakup, right? They will cheat on you. They will embarrass you publicly. They will disrespect you in front of your friends. And it's maybe controversial, but it's not the woman's fault. It's your fault as a man that you let it come that far. She basically asks you, please, man, break fucking up with me. And you are too pussy to do it. So it's your responsibility to not let it come to that point. And basically, as soon as you have the thought for the first time, maybe I should break up with her, put a 1 month timer mentally. And then you can ask yourself a question. Okay, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I've just been only working and she's actually cool and she's been fucking, sitting through my bullshit for a year and now she gets a little bit annoying, but really I haven't been paying attention to her at all. She's actually a cool chick. Like, you should obviously see it from a different point of view of, okay, girls are crazy and da-da-da, and sometimes she's a bitch, but, sometimes it's our fault. Okay, then what else can I do? When was the last time I took her on a date? When was the last time I showed her something new? Am I maybe really stingy? Or am I really not treating her with respect? If all of this is still like, no, I'm actually a cool guy, I'm giving her what she needs, I'm trying to give her attention, I am quite reasonable. Most of the time, the drama starts on her end. Okay, then it's done. Then that's it. And if you click those boxes where it's like clearly not going to work out, the vision, the third thing I would say is the vision of you and her in the future exciting, right? Are you moving into the same direction? Because when people come together, it's exciting. Like, yeah, she's also studying this, and she also wants to move around and travel with me, and she's also working on her online business, and we kind of like support each other, or she's really into movement, or we both party people, or we're both taking drugs every day, whatever. Like, it's matching. But over a year, over 2 years, over 3 years, people just most of the time move into different directions. Sometimes they move into the same direction. That's beautiful. That's when, often like they work on an apartment together or they make a child, and then you keep moving in the same direction. That's beautiful. But especially in your 20s, it's just probably not going to happen because you're moving like this still. Later in your 30s and 40s, okay, you're going to find a mature woman and you both want children, you both want to settle down. It's going to get a little like closer. The goals are probably aligned easier. So ask yourself, like, if we already not moving in the same direction, where are we going to be in a year? Like, she wants to fucking move to LA. I want to settle down in Germany. I want to do home office. She wants to do this every day
The
already.
worst is when a guy makes those decisions to kind of, I guess, supplicate to a girl, and then she ends up breaking up with him.
Yeah.
It's like, move to a different country, give up his job,
Oh, yeah.
give up his house, give up his friends.
Yeah.
And then she breaks up with him.
Well, why? Because you gave up your manliness in that moment. She's just like, she needs you to be the boss. And it's just like, and the boss could also just mean breaking up with her. At least she's going to respect you for breaking up with her, right? So she just knows, I got this guy and he's doing everything for me. And that's too much because you shouldn't do everything for her. You should do what is best for you, and that will be the best for her.
It's the same thing in your career as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about your family, but when you made your jump to go live in Nicaragua, it's probably the best decision for you.
Yeah.
But maybe your family members didn't support that. Maybe your friends didn't support that. Same thing with breaking up with your girlfriend. Maybe your friends don't support you breaking up with your girlfriend, but at the same time, or your mom doesn't. Oh my gosh, your mom doesn't support you breaking up with your girlfriend, right?
Yeah, and also be careful who you take advice from.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not asking how to get rich from poor people. I'm not asking relationship advice from somebody who's never had a relationship for longer than 3 months. I'm not taking fitness advice from a fat person.
Yeah.
Right? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, I think I would take football advice from Andy Reid. He looks like he's looking at the Waffle House menu. You know Andy Reid? Oh, you have no idea. This is a football reference. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
American
yeah.
football reference. He just won the
He's
Super
an
Bowl.
American.
He's the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. The man looks like he eats at Waffle House every day. He
That's
looks
so
like he's not looking at a
American.
play menu. He looks like he's looking at a Waffle House menu. It's the
Ameri-
best thing ever.
It's so American of you assuming that the whole world knows about American football.
Oh, sorry. Just egocentric Americans.
It's just Europeans assuming that you guys speak more than one language.
I mean, there's people that are. I also agree that typically, if a guy has been able to get those results for himself, it's also important. But I've also seen guys that are dating coaches that get good results for themselves, but don't get good results for their clients. I've
True.
seen guys
Very true.
who are really fit in the gym, but they don't know how to teach other guys
That's true.
how to do the whole routine in the gym, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's also important. I think the best example of a coach would be a guy who has done it for himself and also has done it for other people and has a proven track record of doing it for other people, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that he has to have it perfectly for himself, but he has a proven track record for helping other people.
For coaches,
I think that's
totally.
good.
Yeah. Just in general, you mentioned like, oh, your friends don't, or your mom tells you don't break up with her. It's like she speaks from her best interest, often not even for yours.
You know, I really think that comes from a perspective of like also like wanting to save the girl. Like wanting to have you heard of that or felt that or like
Nah, my mom doesn't even. I don't know. She doesn't care.
okay. No, but just because some of the women that I dated in the past before I kind of stumbled upon a game, it was like, you know, maybe they were a little bit more depressed, maybe they're a little bit upset, not anything to do with me, but they were just, that was generally their disposition, right? And they just generally weren't happy people all the time. And I think that was something that kind of disturbed me because I felt like I grew up in a pretty happy household.
Wait, who is not happy?
The girl. The girl that you're in a relationship. The girl that I was in a relationship with, right? And it was like, for me personally, when I made the breakups with these girls, it was like, I felt like I was a happy person, and she wasn't necessarily a happy person. And I had this, like, I guess, kind of vision of, like, oh, I can save her, you know? Like, oh, I can't break up with her because, you know, I could help her be happy, right? And when you leave that girl sometimes, also, it feels like you're abandoning her in a bad spot.
That was my first girlfriend. I felt that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to that.
I don't know if that's something that other people have heard before or something that other people have felt before. I just thought it was something that was important to mention because for me personally, that was like a big reason why it took me a while to break up with my girlfriend because I was like, you know, I felt like I was a happy person. I felt like she was a sad person. But I felt like I could save her or something.
Right.
And I felt like I was leaving her to
I mean, that's a
fend
good
for
point.
herself.
It's a good point because it kind of wraps up the whole breakup thing of like, okay, you've done the list. It's not your fault. A month passed. It's still shit, right? Because sometimes you have a month where it's just like, eh. But then it gets better again. Okay, cool. You have to break up. How do you break up? It's not going to be fun. Like, right? It's like, no matter if you feel she's sad or you just know each other well, every breakup sucks. Like, there was never like a breakup where it's like, amazing, today's breakup day. You know, it's just like, it fucking sucks. And it's going to be sad. And, you know, I'm a guy who barely cries. Like, 2, 3, 4 years would pass, I don't cry. Breakup, I cry. Because it's just like, it is brutal. It's hard.
Emotional.
Yeah, it is emotional for everyone. So
I have a horrible story to tell. I have a horrible story to
so
tell.
you just have to sit her down, make time, try to be, you know, I would say just be respectful. It's a bit of the shit sandwich as well of like, you know, I love you, but we cannot be together anymore. But I will always love you and I'll support you and I will help you and da-da-da. And but we shouldn't see each other for a while, and I will not text you for at least 6 months until I'm over you. But I will always love you, and that's it, and that's how you do it. And then the final step is you actually stay broken up because, right, a week passes, 2 weeks pass, and we are in that oh my God, I'm lonely land that the guys are because we are lonely often. And then he's like, who am I gonna call? Well, maybe she wasn't so bad. Maybe she was really nice. Maybe it was my fault. Maybe she isn't a bitch. And your brain starts deleting all the negative memories, which is kind of amazing how the brain works. Of like, we go through so much shit in life, and in the end, we kind of remember the good stuff. And it's the same with a relationship, right? Which is really dangerous because the shit was still there. You just don't remember it. And then you call up your ex and waste another 3 years.
Yeah, even that. That's
Did I hit the...
No, it's perfectly. I guess that's a perfectly apt.
Are you guilty of that?
description. No, I definitely am. I definitely am. Because I don't know, with my initial breakups, it was like I felt bad for her. Because I felt like, you know, I felt like I kind of left her. But life is so much better. All I thought about was, you know, what are all the opportunities I'm going to miss out on, all the amazing life experiences, all the amazing women if I continue to date this woman that isn't happy. And that wouldn't make me happy. So I don't really feel bad about it anymore.
Cool.
I want to tell a quick little story about that, okay? So I was doing this, we were just talking about Argentina a lot today.
Yes.
And we were talking about Brazil, and we were talking about Colombia. Love all those places. So I did this 2-week social circle challenge in Argentina, and then I went to Brazil. And we went out to this one club, got bottle service tables, and my videographer ended up meeting this girl. And we both ended up, you know, going to an after party with these girls. And I come out of my room, and I go to the couch, and I see the phone of the girl that's with my videographer. And I look at it, and it says Bay with the little teddy bear. And there was 88 unread text messages from this boyfriend. 88 unread messages from this boyfriend, okay?
Hey, where are you? ¿Dónde estás?
Phone calls.
¿Por qué no me llamas?
And I turned the silencer off, right? Because it was really loud.
You mean to turn the silencer on?
Oh, excuse me, turn the silencer on. And he found out later that she had a boyfriend that she'd been dating for like 7 years. And then the guy was like, "Oh, where are you?" And I'm pretty sure the guy knew where she was, that she
Probably
was
wasn't the first
partying,
time.
and it wasn't. Yeah, it probably wasn't the first time, right? And so this girl had like gotten her boobs done, and she started getting plastic surgery, and she started buying new clothes. She started going out more. Drake line.
Yeah, I was
Started
literally thinking.
buy,
No.
yeah, champagne glasses of champagne on the
My
dance
editor will
floor.
instantly
Stuff
get
like
it.
that, right? So he probably saw all these crazy different things that his girlfriend was doing, and seeing all this value that she had, because as you grow up, girls kind of get this crazy amount of value when they hit
Yeah, in the 20s.
18 and in their early 20s, right? And guys don't necessarily have that same corresponding value at the same time.
No, absolutely.
Even though they have proximity to the girls because they're in college with them, they're in school with them. And then we ended up seeing this girl again like a week later, and she was still dating her boyfriend.
Yeah,
And this boyfriend ended up following the videographer on Instagram.
brutal.
And yeah, they didn't. I don't think they ever broke up. That's
Still
brutal.
not to this day.
So if you're one of those guys and you see that your girlfriend cheated on you, you should probably break up.
Have some respect for yourself, because it's like, what should I say? I'm speechless, but I'm not, because I feel bad for the guy.
I feel bad for the guy
Because
too.
it's just like, he is exactly what I said. He's stuck in that mindset
Yeah.
of, I only have her in the whole planet. There's billions of women, but it doesn't matter. There's only the one.
But that's probably the truth for him too. When I personally lived in Vegas, almost every girl that I ended up hooking up with had a boyfriend. And I would see the girls the next day, and some of them would end up breaking up with their boyfriend.
The next day,
Yes.
because they met
I remember
you.
this girl.
What did you tell them?
I remember this girl
Big
specifically
promises?
that broke up with her
I'll
boyfriend,
take
right?
you to Brazil.
And to me, I saw so much pain from the guys and almost no remorse from the girls. And it was crazy. But I don't think it was because of anything that happened in that exact moment. It was because it was something that the girls had decided beforehand. Because you don't just
course.
decide to go to Vegas.
Of course,
you're in a
exactly what I
relationship.
said. They need to push him to finally break up.
Yeah.
By embarrassing.
Yeah, they
him.
wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it.
Because she's never gonna break up
Yeah.
with you. She's just
And-
gonna embarrass you.
I mean, I've been way less heathenistic since my days in Vegas, and I really try not to, go out with girls that have boyfriends, and I try to make that kind of our rule of like, hey,
Real
no,
gentleman.
yeah, real gentlemen. One of the rules for when we do these villa vacations and we invite girls out to clubs is like, hey, one of the rules is that you have to be single. But man, seeing all the pain now, it's like I don't know how you feel about it, but I've at least seen a lot of the pain from the other guy's side of relationships that I've probably ruined,
Yeah.
and doesn't make me necessarily feel great about myself. But she's a woman who has her own responsibilities and makes her own decisions and consents to things that she wants to do, and I wish those other guys the best.
Yeah, same. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of that. Of course, on my events, there have been girls with boyfriends. Not that I knew before and then invited them because I'm such a bad person. But you just see it, like, I remember one specifically. Girl came on our trip, cute girl, applied to join our shootings, and let's say she had a good time
Yeah.
for the week, and then
One thing led to
only
another.
nature. We were in the Maldives. We were on a yacht, beautiful. Post nature, the sharks. Post palm trees, jet ski driving, and then the first story. But yeah, she obviously didn't post the other stuff she did this
Yeah.
week. First story of her coming back is like her boyfriend at the airport with flowers in his hand, like welcoming her. And she posting about it, just like, oh, isn't he a great boyfriend? Like waiting at the airport for me with flowers. Just like, you bitch.
So, what do you consider cheating, and how should a guy deal with cheating from a girlfriend? From a girlfriend that he's been in a relationship for a little while.
I mean, I consider cheating, obviously sleeping with another guy, obviously kissing another guy, even flirting with a guy over text is cheating for me. Like, I've very little tolerance. It's basically giving any other guy the idea that he could fuck her is for me cheating. So when I'm in a relationship, and keep in mind,
It's probably a little controversial.
maybe, yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people
I've just
think
been
of
in
cheating
Eastern
as
Europe long enough. I don't know.
yeah, of course.
It's just like, because why would she? Like, if I'm her
I
man,
know, I agree.
then she's my woman. And, okay, it's Eastern Europe, it's conservative, but I've been in a monogamous relationship for over a year, and that's the rule. And it's just like, I don't want to deal with anything outside of that. Like, I don't want to even spend a minute thinking what my girlfriend might be texting to another guy. Like, even if there's a 10% probability of this happening, I would break up with her because it's a waste of energy for me to think about that. That's my opinion.
Some guy did a little calculator math on TikTok or something like that. And he did, okay, let's say that there's 4 new guys talking to your girl every day. You multiply that by 365. You got like 1,200, 1,300 guys that are talking to your girl every single day. And so
1,300
1,300.
every day. Or every
I would
week?
say four guys that are talking to your girl every day.
Probably
4
more.
different guys.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, if a girl has 1,000 Instagram followers, that's not
Mine had
ridiculous.
100,000.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Times 100.
yeah. So I mean, let's just think about like in terms of responding, etc. Too as well. You're gonna let your girl talk to 1,300 guys a year? That sounds crazy to me.
The crazy part is,
That's why I would consider talking to other guys cheating as well. Following other guys on social media, in my opinion, is cheating. Because
Yeah.
why are you following those guys? I'm following girls on social media because I want to have sex with them. I'm very clear about that in my relationship. But it's very different for women that I expect to be with me, to be loyal, to obviously not have sex is like a very clear, okay, you should break up with your girlfriend. Kissing, I mean, for some guys that would probably be not as a horrible thing, that they'd probably have to forgive the girl because they'd be like, okay, well, how am I going to get
for
another
me,
girl?
absolutely horrible.
And then flirting with other guys in social media and DMs,
Yeah.
texting other guys, meeting other guys for dinners, meeting other guys for lunches behind your backs, going on vacation with other guys.
Because the thing, to be honest, what I've also witnessed is if a girl is really in love with you and you are a good boyfriend, then she doesn't want to do this shit anyway. Like, she doesn't want it. Like, yeah, that's it. Full stop. It's just like, if she wants, then there's something wrong in the relationship, my opinion. Because sure, it is controversial, but us men, we always will want to flirt with another girl, right? We can be deeply in love with one woman. We can think she's the best girlfriend we could ever have. She's a 10 out of 10. We're totally happy, and we would still flirt with another girl, just because it feels good and we want to do it, and it's in our DNA and it's fun. It's kind of like what our whole body is meant to do, is just like spread sperm. Okay. But it doesn't mean she can do it too, because she is, our woman. Our job as a man is to provide, to protect her in a sense, to do the work. And yes, it's controversial, right? And I want women to work and to make money and all that stuff. It's great. But at the end of the day, mainly it's our job, and we'll just be in that role. So we need the mental focus, we need the mental clarity to work, to build stuff, right? To collaborate, to build networks, to create funnels and what so on. And
I mean,
she's
that's just
out there
and that's just
cheating,
we
it's like-
want as well, right? Like, I guess again to just kind of touch to the main idea of this podcast is just to show our perspectives, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you've watched our content, you've already watched him on Instagram. You watched my Instagram at Coach Patrick Red. You've seen kind of the lifestyle that
Which
we show
reminds
off
me,
and
maybe
all these
people have
things. Yeah, whatever
questions.
your Instagram is down here.
Oh, the other one, the Instagram one. Yeah, keep going.
And you've seen our lifestyles, right? And really our goal with this podcast is just showing what our perspectives are. Maybe that's different than yours, maybe it's not. Maybe you agree with us, maybe you don't. Perfectly fine either way. In my opinion, a lot of the things that I've seen from being the guy who girls have cheated on with, from being in these environments, from living in Vegas, being in New York City, being in Miami, being in Medellin, Colombia, traveling, and vacations as well, is that the girl going on these vacations is a sign that they're not happy with the relationship and they're looking for the next guy. And going out to nightclubs is kind of the same sign. And going out to these villas is kind of the same sign So if your girl is trying to do these things or doing these things or, not telling you about these things, it's probably a good sign that that you're not working on yourself enough, right? That you're not working on yourself enough. Not even that you're not setting proper boundaries with your girl, but that if those things are things that would really bother you, or if your girlfriend cheated on you right now, how would you feel? Would you have other options? How long would it take you to find another girl that really made you happy? How long would it take you to overcome those, I guess, mental barriers or like fucked up feelings?
Yeah.
Of feeling
Would it be
betrayed,
fucked up for 3 years?
feeling
Right.
betrayed, feeling like feeling angry. How long would that take you to overcome those things?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for most men, the sad answer is, I don't know, years, right? I don't even know where to start. Book a workshop with Alex, potentially. That's one way. Yeah, I agree, right? Especially when she goes on trips where there's a lot of these men. I
And
mean,
then afterwards, when you see her on all those trips on social media, etc., like
horrible.
once
Yeah.
she breaks up with you, and then the next day she's over at some villa with Alex over in the Maldives.
Oh
You know,
no. Yeah.
He's
Well,
gonna have a new list of things that girls cannot have just recently broken up with their
to
boyfriends.
share one side of that view though is I crazy like even though I'm very hardcore with if she texts one guy she's cheating, I was totally fine because I have so much trust with my girlfriend that she would not cheat. I was totally fine she goes to the club with her girls. Like I understood that sometimes she wants to go out, she doesn't want to fucking sit at home with her grandmother every day and there's girls and they invite her out and then she has money from me. She can pay the taxi, she can pay her own drinks. And she goes out with her girls. Because I have the clarity, she's not going out to find another guy. She's just having fun. She's not doing it 4 times a week. She's doing it once a month. She's meeting her old friend from school. So that's my point of view. And I don't know if you share that, but it's kind of the beauty then. If you have so much trust because you are trusting yourself to be the man, to be a good provider for her, and she loves you because you're strong in your masculinity, you can allow her to go out a bit, right? Like I know there's some YouTubers who are like, why would you ever go to the club? No reason. She should stay at home. I'm like, that's a bit like too much. That's haram, right? That's like it's a bit too much Saudi Arabia for me. I think my girl should go out. She can dance. She can even have other guys look at her. I don't even. That's again controversial. I don't mind if my girl is like selling beautiful photos of her on OnlyFans. Would I have a problem if she shows her pussy? Yes. I don't have a problem with my girl showing like holding her boobs or like sexy bikini photos, selling them on OnlyFans. I think that's fine. I don't mind. That's my opinion, right? So there is a balance there. I'm not okay with all those other YouTubers just being like, she needs to stay at home and she's only for this and she should never work and if she should never even show herself to other men. I like when other men think she's hot. It's like a compliment to me, right? It gives me status. It gives me respect. She can show herself. She can be sexy because I have trust in her and in myself. So that's what my balance is. You're like, that's bullshit.
No, I think that's fair. I think that what you said is, I think it kind of goes in the same vein of like, you don't want to just be telling. Is a difference between power and force, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you force your girlfriend to not go out, you force her to not do these things, you force her to go against things that she would want to do.
And she wants it 10 times more anyway.
Well, then else she's going to resent you.
Yeah.
It's going to come up with a lot of passive aggression. But if you,
Because also, if you're like, no, you should not go out because there's other man, then she's like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you so worried that another man talks to me? Like, don't you think you're the man? Are you afraid of other men?
but
Don't
she
you
should
trust
have
yourself?
she should have the ability to go handle that, and you know that she's going to handle that if
Exactly.
something
Yeah.
uncomfortable happens in those scenarios as well, right?
Yeah.
And so she should want to, like, the way that I think that a lot of guys could avoid girls cheating on them is treating the relationship, having very good outline of exactly what they want from a girl from the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want a girl that doesn't go out to clubs, so stop going to clubs, go meet your girlfriend. Wow, what an amazing concept. It's like if you go meet a girl at the club, she's probably going to be going out to the clubs a lot. Go set out all the standards that you have for your girlfriend. What are the types of physical qualities that you want? You want her blonde, 5'4", she goes to the gym, has some type of characteristic traits that are important to you, right? Guys say intelligent or working on their business or hardworking and stuff like that. Those are way less important to me out of a girlfriend. But then also define like, okay, what are that's the physical traits, the personality traits. What's your ideal relationship actually look like? What are you guys going to do for fun if she's not going out to the club or not going out with her girlfriends, all these things? What are the ways that you guys are going to build a life together? And when you have a better idea of what the relationship's going to look like before you get into the relationship, you stop getting relationships with girls that are not going to be good for you. Mm-hmm. I have this one guy, he's one of my best friends, consistently gets in a relationship over and over again, and he thinks that something's going to change after the first time he meets her. He's like, okay, from the last relationship, I learned that, I don't want to have a girl that, does TikTok. I learned that a girl that, I don't want to get in a relationship with a girl who, doesn't care about her family or doesn't know how to cook properly or, posts a lot of crazy photos on Instagram, right? And then the next time he'll get in a relationship, he'll start meeting a girl, and he'll be like, oh, well, this girl does this thing, but, it's okay. She's going to change. And I'm like, no, you just said these are the boundaries that you have. So avoid, the negative things you happen.
Almost
happen
like
in the
because he
last
says, I
relationship.
don't want that, he's manifesting exactly that into his life.
Yeah, so like
He should
before you get in a
rephrase
relationship,
the
relationship, you should come up with the reasons why you shouldn't get in a relationship, right? Like the only reason, like
and what you do want, not just what you don't want, because
that's true. That's very true. But I think if you can't start with what you do want because maybe you don't have enough experiences, maybe you start with some things that you don't want. And it doesn't even have to be because you had past relationships with girls. It could be things that you don't like about your friends. Like for me personally, I was like, I don't want to be around people that are unhappy.
Yeah.
So don't pick a girlfriend that's unhappy, right? And wait a longer amount of time before you guys decide that you're in a relationship.
that's the key part.
Guys will ask girls out after a month because they're in that like honeymoon romantic phase and they've never seen the bad side of the girl or what are the negative things, right? And they haven't built up any trust, and they give all of their trust away.
And again, lack of
right
abundance, sex twice, felt good.
Yep.
Lock her in.
Yep.
Right.
Sex without a condom, and
Boom.
then they're like, okay, boom, I'm in love with this girl.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand it. If you can fight that urge.
You don't understand. She's the one.
Yeah, if you could
She's
fight
really
that,
cool.
if you could
You
fight
get
that
it.
urge, yeah, she's so cool, man. She's so cool. She only bitches at me.
Doesn't
when
have anything to do with that I came on her titties.
But if you extend that amount of time before you decide that you're in a relationship with them, then there's no downside for you, right? You get more trust, you get more experience, you get more idea of who this person is. It'd be like, for example, if I met you on the street and 1 week later we decided we're going to do business together. That's not how business works, right? It's you spend time with people, you see what are the red flags, you see what are the things that you like about this person, what are the things you don't like about this person. Make adjustments to yourself and how you view those things. Like, for example, if you view going out to the clubs is okay, and then you realize, oh shit, I actually don't like when this girl goes out to the clubs because it makes you feel bad.
Yeah.
Then you say something, or you change how you feel about it. Same thing with business. Same thing with having healthy relationships in general.
Yeah.
So don't jump into relationships with the girls right away. Set boundaries of things that you do like, you don't like, so that way you avoid girls cheating on you.
Yes, and many more drama in that sense. And to add on a little bit on that, what enabled me through waiting for a long time, especially like with my last girl, there were certain things where I was the kind of guy who was like, I don't want that she's like this, right? For one thing was like, I don't want that she smokes, like never, ever. If a girl smokes one cigarette, she can never be my girlfriend. That
That's
was like
hard
a
for
thing.
Ukrainian women, right?
Yeah.
That's super hard. Yeah.
And then I got to know her, and I was like, okay, here and there, she has a drink, and then she smokes a cigarette. And I'm like, that's fine. It's just like suddenly that thing that was so big in my head, in reality, was like, yeah, it's not such a big deal. Or I hate when, if a girl would do this or spend that much money on this, I would never date her because that shows me how she's not.
But those are the guys who don't meet enough women.
Yeah.
Those are the guys who
They have this perfect woman in their head
Yeah.
without any reference experience because they just don't go out.
Yeah, and then they ask oh, I don't want the type of women that you have, Alex. I want a good girl.
Yeah.
Well, listen, there's no such thing as the skills that are involved to get good girls. There's just skills with women, and then you apply those to the women that you want to talk to. And if you don't want to talk to the women that me and Alex talk to, then you don't have to talk to the women that me and Alex talk to, right?
Stay at home.
Stay at home,
Enjoy.
exactly, you know? Or
Watch
go to a
Netflix.
different place. Like, if you don't like women that go out to clubs, then don't go to clubs, right?
Yeah.
If you want to find this quote-unquote good girl, go find the spot and apply the same skill set, right? So don't lose the forest for the trees. It's like, we have a type of girl that we like, right? You have a different type of girl than I like, right? But that doesn't mean the skill sets aren't the same.
Yeah.
If you want, we could go switch places and put me in Ukraine and put you in South America and see how it works.
Challenge.
That'd be great.
That'd be
We switch
funny.
places.
I would love
Stay
it.
tuned. Next video.
Um,
Patrick and Alex switch places.
yeah, that would be a fun video. And I guess we wrap it up soon, but I like how you say good girl. It's just like we are also able to bring the bad girl out of a good girl, or the good girl out of a bad girl. Like, for the viewers
That's
at home.
great. That's great to say that.
Thank you. Put it up. Quoted under the subtitle.
This deserves to be some
Put a
Instagram
crown on the head.
quote on a canvas in a
Thank you.
girl's bedroom.
At least 500 views. Because, to wrap it up, because we talked about the lessons I learned and why do I keep living this life, is we talked about it at the beginning. I made the decision I want to learn more about being more outgoing, right? Want to improve my social skills. I want to learn more about women. I want to learn more about people. And the thing that keeps fascinating me is how complex it really is. Like, how complex people are. And that's why I keep exploring this world. That's why I keep creating trips like this. That's why I keep approaching women on the street. I want to see all the different interactions. That's why I want to explore a 1-year monogamous relationship, right? A whole new set of emotions and feelings and experiences are coming up. And one of the main lessons I learned, especially over the last 1 or 2 years, is there are no only good girls and there are no only bad girls. And for the viewer at home, and it kind of also goes in line with these extreme YouTubers who are like, women must be this, or if she's like that, she's not for me. Most of the guys who speak like that, they're, like you say, don't have enough experience with actually spending time with women. Because if you did, you know a good girl can act like a good girl, and then the next day, the next evening, she can be the wildest bitch blur at the party. Everybody can look at her in shock. She takes her clothes off, and then the next day she goes back to university and studies and acts like nothing happened. And it's the environment that gets that out of her. And you can judge that. You can say that's not for you. You can say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Or you can accept that and, like me, become a bit of a scientist of this and just take a step back from your own shortcomings, your own insecurities, your own ego, and just see it how it is, right? Like, reality is neutral. I have a tattoo about it. It's like, that's how women are. And some people are the way they are. And everybody has the devil and the angel inside of them. And isn't it exciting that we can get both out of them? And isn't it kind of beautiful to have a person and just understand she's my little angel and she's my little slut? And have that with all the women you're meeting. Wouldn't that be cool to be that understanding and that accepting of women in general? Wouldn't that create a stronger bond with women in your life? Wouldn't that make you able to have better female friends, right? Yes, we talk about dating. Yes, we talk about sex. But wouldn't it be cool to just have girls in your life that are your friends? Where you can like, hey Lisa, what do you think about this text? Hey, should I put this photo on Tinder? What do you think about my ex-girlfriend? Or what do you think? I fucked this girl last night. What do you think? Wouldn't that be cool to talk like this to girls as well, not just to your bros all the time? So I know it's a bit of a side tangent, but have this view of life isn't just black and white. Women aren't just bad and good. And you should take a step back and work on yourself to become more accepting. I hope that made sense, what I said.
No, it's the more accepting and the more open you are to learning about other people's experiences, the better your life is going to be. The Socrates quote is, or maybe this is Aristotle. I'm fucking this up. I was just at Athens. It was the only thing that we know is that we know nothing.
Right. And Nietzsche said, embrace the cringe.
Did he say that?
No.
Okay. Sorry, you're fucking with me now.
Okay. Anything else you wanna say to wrap this up?
No, just I wish that I think that if you watch this and you've watched our Instagrams, you probably have a healthy level of skepticism about the things that we say. And I think that's good. And I think that it's good to have us be skeptical about what Alex is saying about is the lifestyle that he shows on his Instagram, is the lifestyle that I show on Instagram, quote unquote, real? Is this stuff that we're actually doing? Is this stuff that we just show off? Are the girls paid? Are these things that we actually believe? And I think that's a good thing to have a level of skepticism, because I think that most guys that are watching this are pretty discerning and watch other people's podcasts and YouTubes and see a lot of social media content, right? And I hope that, you don't necessarily need to accept what we say as the truth or the way, but that we were just able to give you a different perspective, right? Even if you agree with it, if you don't agree with it, I'd love to hear your comments down below. Kind of what your story is, what your experience is with maybe women cheating on you, your relationships, or, some of the things that maybe you disagree with us on, right? Because, again, we're not trying to be right. We're just trying to forge our own way in the world, right? And one of the things that was really key for us was changing a fundamental belief that we had about the world, right? And acknowledging something that we felt was wrong, right? With you, it was cold approaching, talking to women and feeling like you didn't deserve them. With me, it was like, okay, what's the purpose of earning all this money if I don't enjoy my lifestyle? And those fundamental questions, those changes in the questions that we asked, led to huge changes in our lives. And I hope that maybe you can get a couple questions that maybe you can ask yourself, write the answers to yourself, and help you also get a better life and avoid a lot of pain, suffering, and any obstacles along the way.
Patrick, thanks for driving over, meeting us in Turkey. Thank
Hey,
you
I didn't get
for coming
pulled over
on.
by the cops either. It's wild.
Good.
And I got this beautiful view. We got this amazing. We got to go to the gym today. We got to eat a nice meal and
Life is good.
finish podcasts. And now we're gonna eat some steaks and I have some more. I got some calls tonight with some people.
Me
And
too.
yeah, turkey.
Turkey's a good
What do you think
place.
of turkey?
All right.
What do you think of turkey? You
I
like
love it. Peace.